I was looking at basically the inflation report for what's been going on in the country over the last 12 months because mentally I keep telling myself that the prices have gone down and everything is getting better. And so I decided to kind of do a little bit of research on it. And unfortunately, I was wrong. My question is, when did sodas become $12 for a 12 pack? It's literally $1 a soda, which I guess isn't crazy, but it seems really effing expensive. Even these little ones, $9.29. Absolutely ridiculous. A gallon of milk is still, what, $5 for a regular gallon of milk. Ridiculous. Alright, so we have eggs back again, but look, they're still ridiculously expensive. $8.75 for some organic ones, which is what I normally go with. But even your regular ones, $5.45 for 18 eggs. Where are we at down here? $3.59 for 12? Crazy. So I understand why they're blaming the price of eggs and chicken on like bird flu and all that other stuff, but look, we haven't had any issues with pigs, right? So why is bacon $10.29 for some bacon? Absolutely ridiculous. Alright, y'all. So the whole reason I was thinking about like the inflation rates over the last 12 months is because it doesn't really get talked about as much as it did for the last 4 years. Like during COVID, all we heard about was inflation and how much everything costs. We heard about bird flu and all this other stuff. We heard about culling the chickens. We heard about the issues with cows. We heard about the issues with all different random things. And then it kind of got sidelined because of the election, right? And then everything that's happened this year hasn't been a ton of talk about prices in the grocery store or what's going on with the eggs and what's going on with the chickens and whatnot. So I was just very, very curious, right? Especially because just 2 days ago, September 17th, the Fed decided to lower the interest rates, right? From, I think they said 25 basis points. So now it's between 4 and 4.25%. So everybody's like, oh, this is great. You know, it's going to help with the housing market. And my brain was like, yeah, but will it trickle into like the food market? Because your housing market and your auto market technically aren't necessities. I know how stupid it sounds, because if you don't have anywhere to live and you don't have a way to get from point A to point B, it feels a little messed up, right? But technically, the food is all you really need in order to live, right? If we're gonna like split hairs here. So I was thinking, like, how will this Fed rate cut trickle down into the grocery stuff? And obviously it probably won't, at least not anytime soon, maybe like 2 years before you see any kind of Fed rates trickle to grocery prices, because people are more interested in trying to buy the house, trying to buy the car. We have a couple of houses in our neighborhood that have been up for sale for the last 6 or 7 months, and every single one of them has had to lower their prices over the last 6 to 7 months. And I thought that that was interesting. I'm like, all right, well, obviously it is not a seller's market, but obviously it's also not a buyer's market, because nobody's doing shit around here, right? So they start lowering prices. Well, 2 of the houses sold, and I'm like, okay, well, did it sell because they lowered the prices, so now the buyers are able to get in? Did it sell because, you know, they knew that the rates were coming down? Did it sell because people are getting paid more in their jobs? Like, why are these houses selling when they weren't, you know, for the last 6 or 7 months? So these are questions that I end up asking myself, right? Either way, I was thinking about the grocery store prices, so I did a little research, right? They wanted to blame the egg prices and the chicken prices, remember, on bird flu, avian influenza, like it was this whole entire thing, and then it just suddenly went to crickets. You didn't hear about bird flu at all anymore whatsoever. So I was like, okay, what has actually happened with the prices over the last year? Because we all know that President Trump ran on that day one grocery prices were going to come down. That's not exactly feasible. Like, we knew it wasn't going to happen day one. It's not like he gets sworn in and the next day, poof, everything is better. Not at all possible. It's been now, though, we are in September. It's been 9 months. Actually, it's been almost 9 months to the day, and I wanted to see what has actually changed. So I did a little digging, because, you know, that's what you got to do here. Technically, y'all, we've gotten more expensive. And I did not want that to be the case, but technically we have gotten more expensive. Here's the question, though. Is it because of the tariffs, right? Is it because of the greed? Is it because of both things mixed together? Or is it because that's where we're supposed to be? Like, it makes sense to be paying this much, which I do not think it ever makes sense to be paying this much. We pay people more in their jobs, then everything costs more. So then we have to pay people more in their jobs because now, you know, everything costs more. And it's just this vicious cycle of never-ending inflation in whether how you spend your money or how employers pay you. Everything keeps going up, going up, going up. Like, where's the ceiling? Where's the limit, right? So I went looking. So last year, 2024, okay, We know that 2022 and 2023 is when prices like shot through the effing roof, blamed on COVID, obviously, and supply chain issues with the ships and the trucks and the whatever else. All these reasons why there were supply chain issues. And then we had the shortages and whatnot. And a lot of things changed over the last couple of years, right? But it says here, prices went up 11.4% in 2022 due to supply issues from the Ukraine war, obviously, and avian flu is what they're talking about with eggs specifically. And it said eggs fell, though, 23.8% in 2023, but rebounded in 2024, up another 36.8%. Overall, 2024 saw the slowest grocery inflation in years at 1.2% for the full year. So they're saying that from the beginning of 2024 until the end, only 1.2% inflation. Now that is obviously averaged across things. It's not, you can't look at every single individual item. That would take us literally the rest of my life and my kid's life and her kid's life to go through everything. Not feasible. But averaged 1.2% inflation for the entire year. Now this year, obviously we're only in September, but right now it's looking like a 2.7% year over year increase. Not 1.2, but 2.7%. It said that August went up 0.6% monthly, was led by beef, which went up 2.5% just for the month. The cost of beef went up, right? And then the tariffs hitting items because we bring a lot of beef in from other countries. Like we don't have enough farmland here or something. Interesting there. And then it says here, because I wanted to give you guys all the stuff. So food at home, basically your overall grocery from August 2024 to August 2025. That's the year that I went with, was, last month and 12 months prior to that. And we have gone up 2.7%, whereas last year it was between 1.2 and 1.8. So we haven't doubled all the way, but we've almost doubled percentage-wise what we went up all of last year in the last 12 months, which, if you want to, once again, to use the phrase split hairs, that is not what President Trump campaigned on. But we all knew that tariffs were something that were going to be a thing. So it kind of all ends up going together, and you take the good with the bad, I guess. But I do know that walking through the grocery store today, yes, I'm at Publix, and Publix is a little more expensive than Walmart, generally speaking, right? I only go to Publix for the BOGOs. If it's not buy one, get one free, keep it trucking and walk right past it because it's expensive. So, but the prices I'm looking at here, that I've looked up, the inflation is not Publix based. It is all grocery stores, all combined, all across the country based, not statewide, which I was going to try to do statewide stuff. Maybe we'll do that later. But walking through Publix, seeing the prices of things. Y'all saw milk, $5 an effing gallon. Are you kidding me? You used to be able to go to the grocery store and get a gallon of milk for like $1.50. Then my husband likes bagels, so I got him some. Where are they? They're back there. Some Thomas bagels. $5.49 for bagels. The hell for? It's bread. Like, what are we doing here? The bacon, $10.29. Now Smithfield might have been cheaper, but honey boo boo, we are not eating Smithfield because you know why. So no Smithfield for me. Although Smithfield did just come out last week and say that they are going to stop using high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup in general in their foods. I mean, that's a plus, right? But what about all the other shit that's already in there too? So anyway, that's not the point. But everything has continuously gone up in price. According to this, 2.7% average in the last 12 months. Here's the problem I've always had with prices of stuff, right? I look at the per, not the total. So the eggs that I got are $8.75 for an 18 count organic eggs, right? Not even pasture raised. Not even pasture raised. If I want to pasture raise them jokers, like $14. That's a hard pill to swallow, right? But they are roughly 48.6 cents per egg. That's a lot. It's cheaper to own your own chickens, feed your own chickens, and have them, poop out an egg for you every once in a while. But a lot of people eat a lot of eggs. We eat a lot of eggs. It is what it is. But the prices have gotten absolutely crazy. And here I am, thinking to myself, oh no, the economy's better, because it feels that way, probably because of where I live. Because I am in a touristy area and there are people here all the time. So it gives you this weird illusion of this great economic growth and everything else. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, our grocery stores cost more because we're in a tourist area. It's cheaper in other places. And that may be the case, but it doesn't change the inflation rate in the places. No matter where you live, the inflation, the average inflation is still the same. Whether you're in a tourist area or like a food desert kind of area, your inflation is still the same. I saw this lady on TikTok. She posted this video talking about how much it cost her to feed 6 kids, right? She got to, it's an Aldi receipt. She gets to the end of the Aldi receipt and it's like $444 and change to feed 6 kids. I think she said for like 1 week. But she's scrolling slowly down this receipt and all I see are processed bullshit food items like chicken taquitos from the freezer and Kraft mac and cheese in a box and, you know, Campbell's soups and whatever else. And it's like, well, you know, everything that's like that costs more. Convenience seems to cost more. And I didn't see really anything on there where she bought a bag of rice, a bag of beans, a thing of chicken to cook, a thing of ground beef to cook, whatever else. It was all these easier to purchase, easier to throw in your freezer, throw in a microwave, throw in an oven, because sometimes that is what's necessary for people, the convenience factor, right? But the convenience factor will always cost you more than the individual ingredients to make for yourself at home. My daughter yesterday, she said that she wants to take some culinary classes, right? Her school has culinary something or other as an elective. She didn't get into it this year. She wants to try it next year. I was like, that's good. She said that for the class, what they end up doing is that each student is given a part of a meal to make, and they're supposed to go out and buy the groceries for it, go home and make it, and bring it in the next day, whatever, for the whole class to have for lunch and things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, this could end up being a very costly class given depending on what they have you make, because the grocery stores are not cheap. So either way, I don't know why I told you that, but I'm excited for her to take these culinary classes and kind of learn. But also, I think it will teach her, because she goes shopping with me all the time, but a lot of kids don't. I try to go while she's at school to make life just a little bit easier, because although she is my kid and she is very smart, she is still a teenager and she still wants the things that, you know, the friends have and she sees in commercials. So she still wants the Mountain Dew and the Takis and all this other stuff. So it's just easier to go shopping without kids. Y'all who have them, you know exactly what I mean. But it will be nice to take her when she's in this culinary class and just say, all right, here's your budget, here's what you're supposed to get, figure out how to do it. That way she understands as she's getting older the need to, which still feels so stupid to say out loud, the need to budget groceries, the need to budget your fuel, budget this, budget that, because if you want to be able to make it through the month, make it through the year, a lot of times you're having to budget down to the penny depending on your situation, whether you're on Social Security, whether you're living off of your 401k retirement, whether you're working 3 jobs, whether you're a stay-at-home mom who's working off of one paycheck that your spouse brings in, whatever it may be, a lot of people have to budget, right? And when you're being told that, oh, prices are good, everything's going down, and you go to the grocery store and you see this one thing has gone down, like Walmart was really big with the, look at all the rollbacks we're doing. This bread that was $1.25, now it's $1, and you're like, okay, well, that's good, that's a quarter, they will add up over time, but then you raise this $2 that I need to go with that bread that you dropped a quarter. So where's really like the win? It's one of those look over here but not over there kind of things, and so you don't really realize that by the time you get to the register, you're paying more than you did last month, the month before that, because they're taking a little bit down here, adding a little bit here, hoping you won't notice the trade-off, right? The inflation will never end. We're never going to go backwards. Yes, technically, some things went backwards in price after the whole COVID just kerfuffle. I still don't know what that word means, but I like the way it sounds, so we're going to go with it. And the eggs that had gone up to, I showed you guys before, the eggs, the 60-count eggs at Walmart in the white box had gone up to like $30 friggin' dollars, and now they're back down to 10. Back down to 10 is still shit, because before it ever went up to 30, it was like $6. So back down to 10 is supposed to make us feel good, but honey, you're still paying almost twice as much as you were before everything hit the fan, right? But the reason I'm saying the prices will not come down. I love y'all. Y'all know this. We can't have these delusions that just because the person we voted for is in office, that it's going to give everything a new, shiny, positive feel, because that's not, unfortunately, it's not the case. The tariffs definitely don't help our wallets in the grocery stores, especially when so many companies are using those tariffs as an excuse to raise prices, even though they are not purchasing or selling anything that they were hit with tariffs on, or they're hitting you with tariffs for things that they've had in stock before they ever had to order anything that was tariff related. Like, there's some really shady, greedy, skeezy people out there, right? But that's what they do. The prices will always be what they're gonna be. As long as we are willing to go out and pay for it, they will not lower the prices on things. That is not the president's fault, whichever president it happens to be. It is not the president's fault. I said it before when it was Biden. I did not like the man. I think that the things he did were trash. The prices that these manufacturers were setting were not his fault. The prices that the manufacturers and the grocery stores are setting now are not Trump's fault. Everything kind of goes hand in hand, obviously, but there's going to be a lot of people, there's already a lot of people that are pointing fingers still at Trump, saying, well, you know, you said day one you're going to lower grocery prices. You can only do so much, unfortunately. So when you go to the grocery store and in the back of your mind you're thinking that something looks more expensive, but you keep hearing that prices have gone down, you're probably not wrong. Something is more expensive. Just that one little thing over there went down 5 cents, but that one thing over there went up $4. According to this, meat, poultry, fish, and eggs. Last year, around August of 2024, the prices had gone down 2 to 4% because of the technical, like, going back down in price from everything had gone up. But now we're up 5.6% in the past 12 months, we are up 5.6% for meats, poultry, and fish. Eggs are up 27.3%. Your dairy-related products have gone up another 0.9%. Technically, those have kind of like evened out, but it's a lot. Like, it's a lot. This says, while below historical averages, 2.6% since 2005, like is the historical average, prices remain elevated. Examples like a typical grocery basket is up $130 since 2019. Polls show 53% of Americans stress about costs, prompting behaviors like bulk buying or apps for deals. Tariffs could add another 3% long term. This is according to Yale estimates. And then, a lot of people, we talked about before, people were using credit cards to make these purchases, which in the long run, unless you have a zero interest credit card, you're paying even more over time for those groceries to get them today. You're paying like a 30% interest rate almost to, tomorrow for the groceries, which is crazy. So then Walmart and places like that came out with a firm where you could buy now, pay later, all those kind of things. And that was biting Walmart and other places in the ass. So then they're not getting paid back. So then they're raising prices even more. It will always be a cluster. It will always be a cluster. So you have to shop smart. This feels like back in the very beginning of this channel. Shop smart. That's what we talked about in the beginning. Just because it's bigger doesn't mean it's a better price, right? Look at the cost per ounce, the cost per whatever, the cost per pound, the cost per, not the overall total. Because sometimes it makes more sense to buy 3 small ones than 1 big one, or 2 small ones than 1 big one, or 2 big ones instead of 4 small ones. It just kind of depends on what you're looking at. But y'all know this is not anything new to you. It's just something I felt the need to kind of reiterate just in case you, and to let you know you're not crazy. If you've been going out to the grocery store going, no, things are not cheaper, you're not wrong. Things are not cheaper. And it's unfortunate. Everything is so effing expensive. But what are you going to do about it? I mean, honestly, what are you going to do about it? Like, there's kind of no solution except for, they say, vote. Vote for it, but you get where I'm going with this. We did vote for change, and it hasn't quite hit the grocery stores the way we were hoping for. But it's only been 9 months. We still have 3 years and 3 months. And like I said earlier, Fed changes, it takes trickle-down effect. So maybe, presidential changes, there's a trickle-down effect. It'll take just a minute for these prices to kind of lower themselves and get their butts under control. But that's it. I'm kind of curious what you see where you are. Because when I tried to ask the interwebs. I wanted a comprehensive year to year since 2016 on how much the Publix GreenWise organic 18-count eggs cost, because that's what I wanted to know. And it said that in 2016 they cost like $6 and now they're $14. And I'm like, well, that's inaccurate. It said that it was basing it off of Reddit. And I'm like, well, I mean, you can put anything you want on Reddit, so I wouldn't. So then I tried to go to Publix. I said using only Publix's information, and it came back that Publix does not keep records of previous year's prices because I'm assuming they don't want you to see how much the prices have gone up year over year. A lot of companies won't save or file old like flyers or prices of stuff so that you can't compare and go, look at this, like y'all were literally 50% cheaper last year than you are now, which I found very, very interesting. I do know that at one point these eggs had gone up to $12 and I was like, screw you all the way to Sunday. Like, no. Now they're back down to $8.75 and I'm supposed to be excited, but it's still way too much for some damn eggs. Anyway, that's that. I love y'all. That's all. I want to know what you're seeing where you are. Let us know in the comments. Okay, goodbye.